start, just one thing important. The way I work is not good, yeah? It is good. It really depends on how people work, how precise you are. If you notice what I did with this scene, I first started roughly modeling it. I didn't really align the images perfectly. Now, I do it this way because for me it's easier afterwards to start making a general shape, then see, and by this way I study the model if it really fits. I can look and then adjust my images. The best way, if you're organized, is to come and really align all the tlorises perfectly, and then you work very smooth. I sometimes prefer to start with a bit of a rough shape, and then adjust them until I get because it's just part of the process. The hardest work here is understanding the tloris, how this church actually is built. What I was saying, if you notice here that there is a lower space than here, it's not because it's not equal, I think it's because it's on a tilt. If you look at this facade, this side here is bigger than this side, and I think in the church it's not bigger, it's the same, it's just tilted. There is something with the alignment here that doesn't work so perfect yet. It doesn't matter. Because what I think is, you see here now it's not okay. Yeah, if it's modeled, you see here I have a longer wall than shorter because it's by the tloris. But what I would prefer to do is that we model it first from the front view, side views, as accurate as possible. Those are the more important. Then we will adjust this by the top view, because this church has a bit of a tilt here. If you notice, this part is going a bit across. And it's the same problem with the window. If you see, the window here is offsetted to the left. It should be in the center, but if I look at it in my front view, it sits perfectly. So there is some shift here with those images, so we need to figure it out. But why I think it's not so important now to figure it out is that because the building is tilted, we first model it as perfect as possible, and then we will adjust all this and move this around. I think it's a faster way to work, but it really depends on you. Some people will say, no, I really want to first sort those images and understand them. I think it's a good way to, while you do it, because you start with a very basic object, you learn it that way. That's just maybe more comfortable for me, but not necessarily for everybody. One thing, if I look at this side view, and I'll just go here, if you notice my roof, yeah, I have this line going across here, but actually in this side it should come to this line. And here it's fine, maybe a bit lower, and I'm not so exact here, but it should be okay. So I would first start by actually cutting this part. The roof we're going to do like this. Let's go to perspective. We're going to build it separately and then combine it. This is the easiest way for us to do it because we have two roofs. So I would just start by selecting. You can have your modeling toolkit open, and let's select the faces. Now, if you notice, I select faces by right-clicking and I get this menu. It's up to you. I'm just used to it. You can also select it here. And then let's just select these two faces. Now, ideally, if this was symmetrical, we would just model half and duplicate it. That's how usually you do it with a lot of models. Here, we're also, because we're learning how to do it, it's not, we would have this exactly window cut in half, and then we will mirror it. But for now, let's just select these two faces, and then I will do extrude. And in the extrude, I will go to my front view. I'm always going to jump now between the views. So if you notice, what I'm trying to get to now is get this part to this level, to here, to the first line of the base, before the roof starts arching out. So just do extrude, and then it's better to work in this view. Just pull it up to here. I don't know how much you see. About up to this line. The bottom line of this, like there's a bit of a decorative angle here. So to the bottom line. It should look something like this on the perspective view. And don't lose the faces, we're going to continue extruding. On the roof, I will show it maybe from this view. We see this part here, that it goes out, there's a little bit of a ledge, and then it goes up and out, and another ledge. There's this side before the roof starts. Now we could model it, now this actually goes all across, all around the house. Now, if I'm in extrude, I can do this also side by side. If I'm in extrude, I can actually do it by, if we zoom into it, and it's quite difficult in this sense. Okay. We see the line that I have here. Something happened. Okay. There's always Control Z, which works magic. I'm all the time Control. No, it's all the time Control Z. I also there's things get clicked. You have to watch out because your computer is slow, and what I think is when you give a command, it sometimes takes time to process it, and then you might have a lag, and that could be a bit of an issue. What I want to show is basically if we can do this whole shape from one view for all the sides in one go. That's the idea here, that we just trace this shape for this side and we will do it. So I still have mine selected, the two faces, and it's still in the extrude mode. And I'm just going to click another extrude and move it now to the middle line. And what I'm aiming for is, you see this point here that sticks out? So I'm aiming to this line about there. I don't know how much you can see it. If somebody doesn't see something and it's not clear because of color, so you see I have one line on the bottom, and then I have this line here. And I will want to scale it into this place. Now, if I will use the scale tool here on one side, it will just push it to the sides, not in the front. Alt and middle mouse, you're moving. Alt and middle mouse is dolly. Yeah. Oh, also remember the shortcut F. It's called frame. It zooms you into whatever is selected. Yeah, frames whatever you're selected on. So I rolled it back. We just have this first line here on the bottom. I'm going to do another extrude, and I'm just going to pull it a little bit up to the middle. And then I'm going to press R because we're still in the extrude tool. And then if I scale it, I'm scaling only one side. I'm going to press R to move to my scale tool. And it looks the same. It does the same thing. But the difference is I'm going to scale from the center now. You see, I can do it like this. You see that I'm pulling it out, that it goes. This looks fine from this side, but it won't work from the front. And that's the reason that I'm going to undo this. And if you scale it from the middle, as you can see, it gives me the same results on the front view. But if we look at the perspective, it also did the same thing in this part. So that's the idea here. So we just got this little ledge starting here to build. Don't worry so much about this part yet. We will treat it in a bit. Okay. So far, I just made one extrude here in the middle, and I'm going to do now another one. I still have the same faces selected, and I can double check this, that I look here in perspective. I have these two faces selected, and I will just go here. This is the middle one that I made this triangle here. I will just click another extrude, the same story, move it up, and I'm using the scale tool from the center to move it back down. So as you see, this is actually what we wanted to get, this profile. Now another thing with the tloris here, if you see the red line is very thick. We have to pick if it's the top of it, the bottom of it, or the side, or the middle. The ones that have it done like this, just continue along with the same method. So what I did here, now I want to do this arch. And for this arch, I would actually add one here and one here. I will do only two divisions. So I still have everything selected. I'm going to do extrude. And if you want to be and not spend the time on being so precise on it, you can just do it by eye for now. So this is one, and this is more. The reason I put another image, the other one has the measurements where you can really start doing things, which we'll show. So in the last one, this is the bottom, I did like this. So if you look at my profile, and I'll try to highlight it, it goes like a zigzag and then up. It's very rough on the shape, but it is the shape. The reason I'm doing it like this, you see, in one move, I do all the sides in one go, including here, which is wrong, but I'm doing all the sides. I can also double check it here on the front view if it's aligned correctly. And apart from the front here, it should be pretty much aligned. Okay, all this has to move a bit backwards, but we'll deal with that to you. Okay, so let's get this. I'll just go around to see that we have it. So let's just get to the bottom of the second roof. This is actually the roof now, starting this part. sometimes the problem with working with this orthographic, and it happens a lot, yeah, is that I extrude, I don't really see what I'm doing, and actually it's not extruding only one part or whatever. So always go back and forth. There is a reason why we're working with all those windows. You can't do it just with one window. But we got a bit of the profile, and I'll just check with mine. Okay, some of you have already done this part as well, the bottom of the roof. I'm going to continue it, and I'm going to do it again. One here, one in the middle, one here, because we have a little bulge, we have a little thing. So I'm just, again, I need to make sure that I'm selecting the right parts. So I will go to faces, and I have them selected. I'm just making sure nothing else is selected. And I will do extrude. Where's my extrude? Here it is. Alt middle mouse to shift around here. Oh, see, I did something wrong here also. You see, I have some faces here selected. That's why it happens to me also all the time. You need to really make sure that you have the right thing selected. By the way, there is a way to save your selection. I don't want to show it. You can save it and call it afterwards, but this is two faces, so it's not so. I have these two. I'm going back to here, and I'll pull another extrude. This will be the middle part. I'm looking at this corner. You already have it, yeah? This part?
Yeah.
Yes.
I already
Good.
made it on the top. I mean, it's...
Yeah, cool. We'll get to the point of the roof. Everybody that has it up to here, just wait a bit.
This is the last one. It's curved, right? And then it's...
Yeah, exactly. There is this one that's curved, and then another one
It's straight.
is straight. Yeah, and I'll bring it up here. Yeah, let's keep it like that. And then scale. Oh, it's actually straight. Let's leave it like that. Okay. We can always add later on more things. If we see that it's not curvy enough or we don't like it, we can add more things. But you see, we're starting to get some interesting detail on the model. And if I will go into my object mode, this is how it looks like actually. And you see how it actually gives it quite a nice definition. And it's not that accurate yet, but it already starts to be higher poly looking. And we'll do the same here. Meanwhile, save your scene and
I did already.
save scene as. I'm changing the name from start to whip, because this is the start model that we did, and then we have later on. You can call it however you want. It's a whip. I'm calling like work in progress, because the start file, I know it's always, if I did something wrong, I can go back to the start. If you see that I have this, I have one problem. Because I did it in this system, the back, what I have, is wrong. You know, I don't have this in the back, right? And everything is jagged, right? Like it's supposed to be a straight line in the back. Very easy way to fix it. We are going to go to side view. Now, my image is completely not aligned here. I'm not so concerned yet. I will adjust this later. I will pretend it is aligned. I'm just concerned about this part here in the back, because it's supposed to be straight, a straight cut. So the way I will fix it, which is very easy, I will go into my vertex mode, but I have to be on the orthographic side view. So I'm grabbing all those sides. We all have it? So basically, if you will look from perspective, it got both those sides. I can do it also from here. This is just a very easy way to... If I go with a scale tool, because I'm just taking points and I'm scaling them. So if I'm just moving them. If I scale it, you see I got a straight line. I push it all the way to the end of it, and that's a straight. Because I'm not really scaling, I'm just moving points in relations. So trick is here, you select all these vertices, and with scale tool, you straighten it out, and then we want to align it back with this one. And I can go by eye, do it like this.
Oh shit.
It screwed up or what? Okay, undo. Our favorite thing. You can also go look even easier. Grab this whole long line here, because I see also here it's not 100%. All this line, and the same scale tool, and slam it to a straight line.
But we mark the vertices here on the
Side.
Just those some.
I just did those, but you can actually do the whole straight line across. If it, so it is.
There's a straight line is moving too, right?
Yeah. You see, I'm not adjusted yet to the image. I just, if we look at it how I'm doing it in perspective, sorry, this is the real, I selected, you can also do it like this. I'm in perspective, I will stand on a side view. Let's press forward so we see the model like this. And I'm just with the marquee, I'm selecting everything. All this line like this. And then I will do, you can also just do the top, and I will just do squash it to get a flat line. So I know everything is aligned and straight. So as you can see, I have now everything flattened out. All this curvature that we got here, it still stays on this side, and then on the other side and on the front. But here in the back, we have it flattened out. If we go into the roof, let's say, what I was thinking to do is, if we are still in this extrude, to keep it simple, we have these two selected, just the two top. I'll do extrude now, and I'm going to this view, and I'm just going to pull it all the way to the top to here, like a straight line. Now, it's the same way as you did. Actually, yours is easy, is in a way more accurate because the line does have a roof. What I'm going to try to do now is, after I do this, I'll use the scale. I lost it. So I will take the vertices. So we should all have this extended out, basically something like this. And my trick is just to squash it like this.
With scale.
With scale. I like the scale too. And then I would need to also take these two front ones and push them back, but I am creating this line and then I'll merge it into one line. So I will just merge everything together. Another way we can do it, this is the way Maria did it, is go mesh, mesh tool, sorry, insert edge loop. We can do it this way as well. And then you need to be in the middle. So I'm not being so accurate now, but let's say this is the middle. And then I can actually just take this vertex and this vertex. I'm just selecting two vertices. I'll do this again. I'm just going to show this method and pull it up like this.
So which one should we use?
Because it's not connected here. I would do it, no, let's do it the way I did it, because of otherwise it'll get more, okay. So I'm starting this again, it's the same thing. I'm going to just select the two faces, do extrude. I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to look in the front view to which height it goes, let's say to here. And then I can use the scale tool on this side just to squash them all as close, not all the way to the end, so it doesn't, and if you see there is a bit of an offset, I need to move everything a little bit back. This roof is a bit tilted. The problem I have here is, you see my front is wrong, but this we will move now, later. So let's get something about there done. Now this is why I have this, because I will have this edge to put tiles on the roof. So because you have a sharp corner. Now you can also do with your sharp corner, just add two edge loops and then it'll become, you can do it later. It's there's a thing called also offset edge, we'll show it. But you can stay with that way, it's the same, because for now we will get, so everybody got something like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now notice the front here is a bit crooked. So what I'm going to do now is select the vertices. And I'm going to just select these two first. And I'll do the scale first up and down, because I see that it's not straight up and down. I'll just, where it is. It just looks crooked. Okay. I will just pull this back. Now the way I should do it is, if I look at this image, I should move it back. Now you see I have these vertices here. If we look at the side view, oh sorry. I have the vertex here as well. I'll have to move both of them. So because otherwise if I'll move this only, it'll overlap, it'll be too close to these ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this whole top like this. Let's say if I look at this from top view, you see that my edge here is not straight. This goes into a corner. I can select with the marquee all this top. Hopefully it's only this 3 and there's nothing else selected. And I know because I have here it says 3 as well. And then I will just use the scale tool again to straighten this line. And I'm using the top view because it's easier for me to select this way. And scale tool to have. So I got a straight line here on the top. Now you see also this is this can be straightened up a bit. It's okay for now. Let's leave. We're first really roughing out the shape. Also because of time, we can't go into this. But you see, we're getting the nice shape out of it. It's the castle. Now we have a bigger problem in life. So okay, let's wait to get to this stage. Okay. We're good here. If it's straight here or not so important. We can afterwards also at home to really polish all those things. We go now. I have another roof here. If we look at the church, especially if we look at the side view, you see I have this and I have another roof going and it goes a bit longer here. But it continues the same roof all the way. Now, if I want to do that, because we did it as 2 separate parts, we will extrude this part out actually. But then we have all these faces here that we don't want to have. This is the problem that you have when you combine 2 buildings. You had this part. So I'm going to already go to faces. I can also select here. And I'm going to select all these back faces already. So this one and all the small ones. And I can be rough and then I'm just going to press delete. I'm making a hole. And you see I left some faces because I see some lines here. I still need to delete this one, and if I see there is 2 weird lines. Sometimes I would just rotate from the inside so I am able to select everything. So we need to really clear out this whole back part. Shlo aline shlo. You can also select this way. Just one thing important: if you're looking at faces and you want to see if there's something wrong or flipped or something in the inside, it's very hard for me to look at things now. I have this mode here, shading. It's called backface culling. If I click this, what it does, everything that's in the wrong direction, I don't see it anymore. So it's basically one-sided.
Wrong direction.
The face, yeah, the face, every polygon face, this one, has one direction. It either looks this way or that way. In the game engines, in Maya, when we see it like this. You see, I can see that it's black on this side and gray, whatever material on this side. Game engines or this cannot, they understand only one side. They don't understand another side. So if you go around this side, you will see it empty. And this is exactly what this is imitating. It says shading, backface culling, and then it's empty. Only when I turn this side is full and this side is empty. It's the same as having it black. Basically, the normals are reversed. The reason I do this is that if I will want to see if there's something flipped here or I want to zoom inside and not be bothered by other things, you see now I'm looking from the inside, everything is okay. I have this face, which might not be okay. I know it is. This is the side face. See, this is this one, so this is okay. So it's just a way to look at things. This is actually how it will look like on the game engine. So this is why we have to go to close it. So we got something like this. I'm going to remove it because sometimes you won't see your polygons. So always go back to remove this thing in case, so you won't feel like it's.
So backface culling.
By backface culling, it's basically it allows us to see which direction there is. I don't want to. I'll complicate you now just to understand this direction thing. You don't need to do it. If I select all these polygons, don't do this. It's just to show you how we see the direction. If I have display, where was it? Sorry. They moved it. Just a second. Display polygons. Wait, I need to go out of the mode. This is just a way for us to see display. It's the same thing. It's very similar to the backface cooling. You see, I have it here as well. You see these lines that you don't need to see it. You see these lines, these green lines that come out? That tells me the direction of the faces of the normals, which way they're pointing. And this is important for a lot of reasons, not just in modeling. This is also in textures. If you're doing glass materials, this has a reference. So all these little lines are showing me where it's going. If you see this face is pointing upwards, if I will select this face and go mesh display reverse, you see it's pointing down now. If I will look inside, I will see this green line going inside. It looks here black. If I will do shading backface cooling, it'll be a hole. So this is this thing about the sides of the polygons, confusing a bit, yeah? It's just that basically they have one side, and they have different ways to view it. I will now take this out. Sometimes it's good to work with this backface cooling because you get too much things to see. You can't see through things. And another way to do it is just pressing 4. You see the wireframe. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. Where was it? Face centers. Okay, no. See, that's why I don't like using these polygons. And we have face normal. Okay, got rid of it. We're back to the same thing, except I need to reverse this face. When you see that the polygon is dark, just do mesh display normals reverse.